And welcome in, sports fans. Sports fans? Beer fans.
Oh, I'm a sports fan.
There we go.
So I like beer, too.
That is kind of where it, kind of was born out of, was sports and, moving ahead from sports into something else, I guess, to a certain extent. So
sports and beer.
Welcome in, beer fans. Two Guys in Beer podcasts. Yet another episode here out on the airwaves, whether it be on the podcast platform, Buzzsprout, or Rumble, or YouTube, or TikTok, or wherever you're consuming it from, Spotify, Apple, iTunes.
We're all over the place.
Exactly. We appreciate everybody tuning in and helping us grow this, and we've seen numbers kind of go up lately, and it's kind of fun to be able to see that, so we appreciate each and every one of you checking it out and subscribing, and apparently me saying, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your coworkers, tell your neighbors, like, it's helping a little bit, or at least
must be
somebody
working.
is.
And check out the YouTube. The YouTube's got all our little shorts that our tech guy's been doing. He's been kicking some ass with the shorts, and we're actually recording the video again this time. Maybe you'll see us on YouTube. Maybe you won't.
I guess
this
we'll find
is
out.
kind of a test run here. We'll still probably put it up on YouTube if it goes all right, just to kind of show where we started, and then someday in the future when we have our own studio and the IDS Tower in Minneapolis, then we'll have a real set.
Yep. That'll be one floor above the actual brewery that we have as well. That could be like a Mobcraft where we're crowdsourcing ideas for brews. So I don't know, so many different things I'm sure that we'll have that'll spurn off from here.
Never had a bad idea after drinking a couple beers.
Well, then let's get to it. So
let's do it.
Today's brewery, we're going to be talking about Invictus Brewing. It's a Minnesota brew. It's in Blaine. I believe it's still technically Blaine at that point in time. Just kind of right down the road from where we're located. Even from here, it's probably about 45 minutes from where I am here, a little bit less from where Sean is, a little bit closer. But it's kind of a cool place. It's a nice, fun little brewery that hangs off of not 109th, maybe it is 109th, but it's
pretty close to there.
Yeah, it's 105th. There we go, 105th between 65 and Radisson. It's closer to Radisson Road, but it's right by the Blaine Soccer Complex. So if you're coming to the area, they have the soccer complex, the Blaine Super Rink. There's a lot of hockey that goes on at the Super Rink. But just looking at a map, there's 30 fields there. They've had national tournaments. They've had international tournaments there for soccer. So lots of stuff kind of going on in that area. Lots of different, it's obviously a kind of urban area, so lots of different things to be able to happen in that area as well. There's a Chipotle there, which is always fun. A couple of places to be able to go check out, Target. Who doesn't love going to Target?
Yeah, everybody loves the Target.
So, but also in that area is the Invictus Brewing Company. Just south of TPC Twin Cities. So if you're also a golfer, it's just a couple blocks away from that. So kind of a fun place to be able to kind of drop a brewery into the middle of a lot of stuff.
That's a good place to put it, right across from the National Sports Center there, because when you drop the kids off for their hockey practice, their soccer practice, or I don't know if that Thunderdome is still there where they ride the bikes in that dome around the circle there.
I feel like they took that down. I'm not 100% sure, but I thought they did, but it might still be there. I don't know. I haven't been there for a little while.
Yeah, so. I haven't been. Well, went to Invictus not too long ago, but I don't recall. I wasn't really looking across the street, but after you drop off those Rugrats, and those, you just stop over in Invictus while they're over there running around. You can go to Invictus and grab yourself a beer.
On the Google Maps, it appears to be right directly across Lot 1. So if you're dropping somebody off and they're going to be playing, you'll be able to just move your way right across and be able to just go to the brewery. You can park there. You can just cross the street. I believe there's walkways in different places. Be able to just skip across there, and there you go. Now you're into the brewery.
Watch out for traffic.
Yes, definitely.
It's like playing Frogger going across that road.
Safety first there, folks. So make sure you check that out. So, so that's kind of the location. That's what we're doing today. The beer that I've selected is the Hazy Crazy IPA.
That sounds very tasty.
Mostly I just thought the name was fun. Like that was really kind of what it came down to. It's like, this sounds like a fun thing. It's a New England style IPA. Citrus, pineapple, and mango tasting notes is what it says. It is 16 ounces, so it's a pounder. It's a big guy. 6% ABV and 60 IBU. So, and for the camera,
perfect,
be able to see it there.
Invictus.
So that's kind of what we're looking for. A black can, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Just something different, All right, so now the best part of the podcast.
Crack her open. Ooh. Are you struggling over there, buddy?
I got all sorts of problems, but I got her open, though. I overcame.
Problem solving.
There we go.
I think this could solve a lot of problems after a can or two of this.
Absolutely. It's got all sorts of details right here on the can, too. The malt is a 2-row Munich Crystal 10, oats, wheat, and carafoam. And then the hops are Vic Secret, Gerilo, and Amarillo. And then the yeast is American Ale. A lot of that is, those are English words, I recognize. I do a little bit of home brewing, but I won't lie, a lot of it is just already in prepackaged things. So I'm not quite to exploring opening my own brewery just yet, but it does have all the information there. It actually, even for recycling, they a lot of breweries do a lot of things like that or whatever. Obviously, an aluminum can, you can be able to recycle it. But they actually even have a label, spot on the label here, please peel the label to recycle the can. So it actually even lets you be able to take that off of there for easy or easier recycling, I guess. So which is kind of a fun deal.
Remember the cartoon Captain Planet?
I do remember Captain Planet, yep.
That's like some type of label that would be on there at the end of the credits, peel your labels before you throw your aluminum in the bin.
Absolutely. Captain Planet. That was such a... So the shows that happened, when we were kids, I actually did speaking of brewing and, not necessarily Captain Planet, but shows when we were a kid, I did trivia at the 320 Brewery in Pine City just the other day. And, yes, we won. We won the trivia once again. So send all the hate. That's
because I wasn't there.
Send all the hate mail to us. Like we usually do pretty well with that. But one of the categories was like Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh,
and so they would play like either a clip from it or the opening credits, the opening theme. So like there was like Thundercats and Voltron, and I guess one of them was Josie and the Pussycats, which I didn't. I vaguely remember that one or whatever. But I got there like moments after that one was displayed, and they're like, "Well, we got that one wrong." I'm like, "Well, what did you guess?" And they said Scooby Doo, and I'm like, "How do you confuse the two?" So I Googled it. If you've ever looked at like the Josie and the Pussycats thing, it's like Velma and what's the other?
I don't remember.
The two females, and then like basically it's everybody without the dog.
Velma
and whatever it is. It's
I just know the blonde-headed one and the red-headed one.
Exactly. And so like it was like the two of them, and like Fred, the main dude, was there too, and I think Shaggy, but he didn't look like Shaggy. But there was no dog, but it looked exactly like. And I'm like, oh, I guess I could see where that comes from. So if you ever look up that particular one, but anyway, yeah. So the rest of them, like DuckTales was on there, and so like just kind of a little blast from the past. And me personally, Voltron was like my all-time favorite. Cartoon and one of my favorite shows altogether of all times. Judge me if you will, but that's my jam. That's where I live. And that was actually right when I got there, and our group, nobody knew what it was. They're like, I have no idea what it is. Andy's going to know what it is, but I have no idea what this is. And I'm like, are you guys kidding me? Oh my God. I got the action figure over, in my wife's office.
See, I vaguely remember that cartoon, but Thundercats, I would have been all over Thundercats right away.
Thundercats are go.
Yeah. Sing it, Andy.
You probably don't want me to sing too much.
Fine. You're probably right.
So, anyway.
At least not yet. Give a few more of these Invictus in us, and then you'll sound
then we'll definitely,
amazing.
Not only are all the good ideas better, or all the ideas are good, both of those things, but the tone evens out, and you become
too, right?
yeah. That's when you end up all of a sudden singing "Baby Got Back" at a random bar in Carlton.
Yeah,
as after a couple of
Yeah, thanks a lot, Nick. Appreciate that one.
Nick, we're gonna put that one on you. Then we end up in a dauber fight or something like that. I'm glad I missed out on that part. Long story. We'll leave that one out there, and we'll let Nick explain that at some point in time. He said he wanted to be on here as well, so we'll get him on. We'll talk about that a little bit. So, but anyway, we're bringing it back. We'll hit the rewind button and bring it back about 7 topics back to what we were at here.
Please be kind and rewind.
Talking about Invictus Brewing out of Blaine, Minnesota. Set up in let's see here. Trying to find when they actually opened up, but 2013 is when it kind of started to come together, is kind of what happened. So it again, like many different times, and it actually even says that on their bio, like a lot of startup breweries, the idea for Invictus grew out of a home brewing hobby gone rogue, which that's really name a brewery that hasn't, like, this is something that I want to do, this is a great idea. Or like even Mora Beer Club in Mora, just up the road, is they just were making too much.
Right.
Because they were just a group of guys that would get together. It literally was a Mora Beer Club. It was just like 5 guys that would just get together and just brew beer. And pretty soon they couldn't consume enough. Heck of a problem to have. And one of the guys owned a commercial property, and they're just like, well, let's just sell some. And they had their hours were like, for the first 2 years, were like 4 to 9 on Friday and Saturday. That's all it was, because they didn't care about. They just wanted to get rid of some more of their beers. So they've opened it up a little bit more since then, or whatever. And I think they're having a little bit more success. But anyway, that's kind of where so many breweries, that's where it comes from. Just kind of going rogue and want to be able to make your own beer.
Yeah, a lot of similar stories. Yep, for sure.
So the president, Previn Solberg. That's Previn with a P, Previn. Previn Solberg had always been a craft beer fan, and despite his desire to homebrew, found the hobby to be intimidating. I know that feeling. I've done it a couple of times. I don't know if you've made yours, but you don't always need to drill through the hood to be able to do that. At some point, we're going to put that picture out on the social media so that you can see that.
If you've got one, do you actually have a photo of that?
100%. Yeah, I came across it actually even within the last handful of days.
Perfect.
But we'll get that out there and get a picture of that. But it is kind of intimidating because it is, it's like cooking in a way, but it's very extended, just because you have to heat it up and you have to cool it down, and you have to boil it and you have to cool it down, and there's a lot of steps to go with it. And it takes a little bit of commitment, and people that are really into it really love it, and I enjoyed doing it the times that I did it. But I don't know, part of it is I don't have a wort chiller and I don't have certain things, so I'd only do it in the winter, and it would still take 8 hours to be able to do it. Just because
time consuming.
Oh yeah, depending on how you're heating it. If you're doing it like a 1 gallon batch or a 5 gallon batch or something like that, it takes a while to be able to get 5 gallons of water to boil, and then it takes another large amount of time to be able to get it to come back down to temperature
where you need it.
Because you can't pitch yeast and you can't do certain things if it's above a certain temperature. Otherwise, you burn it out and then it doesn't do anything. So. A lot of steps and a lot of things you got to hit just right with that or whatever. So, I know the feeling. You know what I mean? It seems to be intimidating. So, 2013, that's when he met Troy Walter, who's also involved in the brewing. Their kids were in the same kindergarten class, and found out he had been brewing for years. Just brewing, doing his own thing and enjoying that. So, Troy invited Previn. He's like, hey, come over here, come into my garage. I'll brew a batch for you. We'll just, like that way you can he hadn't done it. Now you can see it. You can see the process. You can see what the intimidating parts are and how to be able to overcome that. So they do that, and Previn, bam, light switch turned. I'm in. This is great. I need to do a bunch more of that. They started hanging out a lot more. They started creating their own recipes, started trying to be able to kind of develop their own ideas of different stuff like that or whatever. So several months later, he started becoming a little bit of a researcher, researching the craft beer industry. This is Previn again, doing that. So he's starting to look at that, talking to other brewers, talking to the industry, talking to people about what their thoughts are on it, starting to create a business plan, if you will. Reading articles, doing all sorts of research with it.
Sure.
So he's really getting into this thing. He did this all behind his wife's back.
Oh, boy.
She did not know. So
why would you have to do it behind her back?
Right. So, who hasn't had something where they're probably going to be fine, but I'm just going to kind of do this for now. If I get to a certain point, then I'll loop her in, and you know what I mean? I've made decisions like that, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes she just rolls her eyes at me, and it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Like I haven't, like she hasn't assaulted me or anything, so she hasn't thrown things at me. So, at least, I'm still living under the same roof.
You haven't accidentally fell down the stairs yet?
Not lately.
Not for a while?
Yeah, not lately. So I'm at least getting better about the plans, knowing what's going to be okay and what's not. So he's, doing this all kind of behind your back, and he's kind of getting to a certain point where it's like, all right, we either need to stop dreaming and move on, or we need to actually do something about it. And so you need to loop her in. You know what I mean? And so we say all this, we joke about all this or whatever, but I'm sure there's probably been some ladies that have had some ideas like that at some point in time too, that I'm not going to tell him about it. So before everybody starts sending me all the hate mail, which you certainly can too. If you check out all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, X, YouTube, leave us comments, definitely give us some feedback. Come on.
2guysandbeer@gmail.com.
There we go. Yeah, go ahead and send that. That's where you can also contact us if you have a beer that you would like us to do, or
yes, please do.
Be able to send us beer. Even, that'd be even.
Or if you want us
to
or you want to sponsor us, we get your advertisement on our social media and on the podcast.
It could be right here.
Right.
And you may or may not see this because it may be just audio for you, but this is also on potentially video. I don't know. It might not work, so I'm waving my hand. I'm gesticulating wildly, as they say.
Looks good.
So
Vanna White-esque.
Once he's gotten to this point now, we're back to Previn Solberg. He's, all right, we need to confess. So the way that this explains it on here, one evening he decided to confess the scheme to his wife. I'm assuming this was probably in the evening, and I'm assuming it was probably after a couple of beers, because that's when the courage happens.
It has to happen after a couple of beers for sure.
It doesn't say that, but I'm assuming. I'm reading between lines. I'm assuming things based on my own history of smart plans.
It's a good assumption.
Usually what happens is I'll say something about like, all right, so I have this idea, and the reaction is exactly what I anticipated, or it's kind of like oh geez.
Like turning the bar into a brewery?
Well, that's similar reactions that it's been known to happen. So I'm familiar. I feel, Previn, I feel your pain. I'm with you. I understand, this could be scary. But it sounds like after long discussion, she says, let's do it. Knowing that there's no chance to be able to turn back, let's just, get after it and, go right ahead for it. So, that's kind of where it started, and that's where, kind of things started kicking off. That was 2013, 2014. Shortly after that, Previn had a name picked out, and he was just convinced it was an awesome name, but it actually did kind of latch on to everything that they were doing. The word Invictus is actually Latin for unconquerable. So if you look in the beer, it says beer for the unconquerable soul. So that's kind of the idea behind what they were trying to do. But some of the partners, were just not real hot on the idea. His friend Sam, who was also an investor in it, was driving in the car, and he's like, I got a name for the brewery, Invictus, and lukewarm response was kind of what it was, kind of brought back to. But he talked more about the history of that particular word, and that it's also part of a poem that was written in 1875 by William Ernest Henley.
Oh, wow.
If you go to their website, they have the poem here. Another beer or two, I might narrate it for you, because then my voice sounds way better, at least in my own mind. But Sam also had fond memories of his grandfather referencing that particular poem. Didn't necessarily know that connection, but he's like, you know what? I'm starting to get that. And after reading the poem a couple of times, they started to kind of, get the idea that, you know what? I think that we probably could stick with that. And Invictus is going to be, a solid name for this brewery. It also became a lot fitting to them because when they were trying to be able to get this thing off the ground, lots of delays, lots of challenges, and just being able to get ready to put a shovel in the ground, let alone actually be able to build the building and make the beer and have any modicum of success. It just was so much to overcome. And so it was kind of you had to be an unconquerable soul, if you will.
That's a big building they built there.
Oh, it's a pretty good size. Absolutely.
That's not like a repurposed building either. That's from a ground up warehouse, basically. Like, it's a big facility.
Yeah, it's not a. So many breweries are in like a warehouse kind of thing, like something that they've taken over or repurposed. But yeah, this is a new facility, which is really, really nice. But it sounds like Previn was talking to his father, Lauren, at one point in time, and things were looking bright for the brewery's future. And just how difficult things are. And Lauren says, well, I guess the name is fitting then. And so they decided, you know what, we're going to go ahead and stick with that and, latch onto that. And so that's kind of where all that started. And it just kind of built from there. They chose the Blaine area because they like the area with all of the activities going on, the sports activities. They like to try to contribute to the economy. They wanted to try to be part of that community. Brewery was an obvious next step, kind of in that same area as the National Sports Center. Let's see here. It lists on here. It's located adjacent to the National Sports Center, which we talked about before. It's kind of right just north of that one spot, and I think there's even some stuff even beyond there. It attracts more than 4 million people throughout the year.
Oh, wow.
To the National Sports Center. Soccer, hockey, lacrosse, baseball, softball, golf, ultimate frisbee, rugby, football, and more. So all of the things all of the time. It gets most of the notoriety because of soccer, partially because there's a million soccer fields, but also because there was the United that play now, the Minnesota professional soccer team, originally were a team that played there.
They played there for a minute.
Yeah, before they got to the MLS level. They were, I don't know what level, it's relegation and you move up and down and things like that. But that was one of the things that, they kind of, that's what they're known for, but they do so many different things in that area. So they wanted to be a part of that. They wanted to try to be able to, be part of one of Minnesota's fastest growing cities, which that place has just exploded.
It sure has.
Over the last
year. Sure has.
If you go back to like 2013, like there's still a lot of stuff there, but not quite, what it is now is so built out everywhere. So that's kind of where they chose that area. They kind of really liked that area. Their mission, the way that they describe it here on their website, Invictus Brewing Company's mission is to produce high-quality beers for adults to enjoy while also being good stewards of our earth and resources. So like we've talked many times, coming back to brewers tend to, generally speaking, the one in Kansas City, we're going to create
Colorado.
We're going to create recycling. We're going to really push on things like that. You know what I mean? Trying to be able to be good stewards as much as they possibly can. It's
ingrained in like the craft beer brewery culture. It seems all the sustainability that most of them seem to do. All of them that we've ever been to, not just on this podcast, so seem to give back in some way, shape, or form. I've seen some breweries where they do a different charity every month, and they just have it right up on top of their bar. This month we're giving to this charity. Next month we're giving to that charity. Mm-hmm. So if they're not fully involved in the sustainability of everything, they're giving back to the community through various charities throughout the communities they're in.
Yeah, the brewery in Pine City 320, which we are going to have them on at some point in time. I'm kind of working with the owner to be able to be a part of it. So I've talked about them multiple times. So some free advertising for them on that one. But they do, I believe it's Thursdays. I don't remember which day it is. But they do Pints for Pine. So the Pine City area, a certain organization gets a portion of the profits on everything that they sell throughout that course of time. So yeah, same kind of deal. It's quite amazing, like the amount that breweries typically aren't. I'm going to say typically because I think that there's probably a couple that are, but they're not just major players that are just like, we're just trying to win capitalism. You know what I mean? Try to get all of the money and expand to an overwhelmingly large thing. A lot of them are, we're okay, we're going to be this big, and that's fine. We could grow more, but we're okay being right in here.
And that's the craft beer culture, though, too. Mm-hmm. There really isn't any massive craft brewers. I mean, there's a couple here and there, but most of them are more locally centric, Well,
I think that part of that is also like you almost get too big. You know what I mean? You start losing some of your quality because you're starting to like get into like minutia on such a large level that now we're not making 5 gallons and making it taste just so. Now we're making 1,000-gallon batches and trying to like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, do I put 5 buckets or 6 buckets of this hop in, like certain things like that. So
then to get distribution and all that, that's another step in the process where if you don't really do that, then it cuts down on your overhead and you can just serve locally, And
a lot of the people that I know that have done it and been involved in it or whatever, they like to be a part of it. And you get too big, now all of a sudden now you're just in a boardroom, you're just in a office, you're just doing things like that. You're no longer like boots on the ground making the beer. You're no longer behind the bar serving it. You know what I mean? Like,
Which
you
is
start
most
losing
of the fun
some
of
that.
it.
Oh,
That's
exactly.
kind of the whole point, is to enjoy the process of brewing, and of course drinking with people around you.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's, I don't know, I think that it's just the culture is amazing, but I think that that's not breaking news to anybody at all at this point in time. So, quick little quick hitters on their tap room. Features a meeting room that can seat up to 50 people. Total seating is about 200 people, with 6 fermenters as a focal point, so you know you're in a brewery. So you come in, nice tables, long benches, lots of chairs, lots of seating, and then you can see everything through the glass
right
off
there,
on the other side. So their production facility right there on site. You know, they're not sending anything, too crazy all over the place. One really cool thing that I do like about that, they have kind of a patio that wraps around the outside of the building, and they actually have an area where there's like a bar that you can, pull a chair right up to the bar like you would on the inside, but there's like a garage door that opens. And so now you're on the outside looking in to the brewery, just sitting on the patio. So they got kind of that indoor-outdoor area that kind of works kind of nice with that. So kind of fun to be able to check that out. I definitely recommend it. They do say just on their website, just as a word of note to anybody or whatever, as far as pet policy, we've talked a little bit about pets on the podcast before.
A few times.
We have some opinions there. But they do welcome pets, but they do prefer them just to be on the patio only. So that is not something they don't... that's where they want them.
You don't want them pooping inside.
Yeah, they do say service dogs are welcome, but they have to be service dogs that are working, as we've talked about before. That doesn't say that on here, but that just says service dogs is what it is. So, but they do allow dogs, so they are dog friendly to a certain extent on the patio outside. So, and it's a nice little patio area. It's kind of a little bit thin on the one side, but if you get to the back part, it opens up to a nice yard area, and you can play bags or just hang out back there. They also do yoga at the brewery, one Sunday per month at 10 a.m. And then they also, on the last Monday of every month at 6 p.m., they also do paint your own pet class, where you get a picture, you submit a photo, and then you actually paint your animal.
Well, it might be a little funner to bring the animal and paint the animal.
I would think so. I don't think that I'd be able to do that with my dog, though, because he wouldn't sit still long enough for me to be able to...
Little spray paint, just psh, psh.
Well, I mean, he's Dalmatian, so you just kind of like draw an outline and then, take the black spray paint.
He's kind of already
now
painted.
He's got dots. Yeah. That's kind of, what it is. I will also say one other thing about the brewery that is really cool, that's a lot of fun. So they have the full brewery, all the different selections. If you go onto their website, they have tons and tons of different beers, different kinds, something for pretty much every kind of palate. Whatever you're kind of looking for, they do distribute a little bit, mostly kind of upper Midwest, Minnesota. I don't think they go nationwide necessarily, but they do distribute pretty decent. I was able to get this down in St. Paul, but I've seen it in Bram and Mora and Malacca. You see it kind of around pretty good. But if you go to their location, they do have a full-time kitchen there. It is not the Invictus kitchen or anything. It is called the Tipsy Steer, and I think there's a couple of locations, but it is a locally owned and managed kitchen that has a permanent spot within the brewery. So they do what they call it is local sassy brew food. So it's a lot of like barbecue and things like that. So they do have brick oven pizza, hand patted burgers, but things like that. So a really, really good food. Anytime I've had it, they're very, very good.
I've had it there a few times too, and it is really good food. And what's nice is it's unique that there's actually a full restaurant in a brewery.
Yeah,
it's not.
It
just
doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, a food truck out front, or a pizza, or your favorite pretzel. But it's a pretty nice place.
You were going to bring up those pretzels again, weren't
you? I said your favorite pretzel. Yeah. And what's the neat thing about this too, I don't know if you were going to bring this up, but when it comes to that restaurant, and even when you're ordering beer, when they see you at your table, you can literally order whatever beer and food you want from your phone, and they bring it to you. If you need another beer, you just couple clicks on your phone, and a few minutes later, another beer's coming right at you. So
it's hard to beat that.
So that technology is pretty nice. So you're not, if you're ready for your beer and they're busy, you're not waiting on the waiter or waitress to come to you. You just pick up your phone and click, and next thing you know, a couple minutes later, you got a beer in your face.
Yeah. That's usually I just raise my hand and give the international signal for I need another one. But excuse me. But yeah, it's a great place, cool place. A lot of different stuff, a lot of information on their website. That's one of the things that I also really like about them too. a lot of information there. You can find out just about anything. They do have a frequently asked question that talks about, kid-friendly, wheelchair-accessible, smoking on the patio, like things like that. It does talk about a lot of that stuff. And they do have a section on their website that also is a place where they show like where they distribute and where it's on tap. So I have not seen it necessarily on tap, but
I haven't anywhere either.
It is at different times. Let's see here, McGregor. Up north of there, up in Duluth.
Wow.
We see some places
That's
down in the
pretty
cities.
far away.
But
you think it'd be closer to the cities? You have it up in Duluth and McGregor. That's quite a ways away from Invictus.
Yeah, there's a handful of them that are up kind of in the Brainerd Lakes area, up by Black Duck and Elwood and things like that. So, yeah, a lot of good places to be able to find Invictus. And I don't know, I really recommend it because it's a solid brewery. They got some really good beers, that they've had. This one is, pretty solid, pretty good, pretty smooth, easy drinking. It's not super hoppy. It is definitely a hazy IPA, though. It does have that. So my brother-in-law, Alan, probably won't like it because he's not in the hazy world. But that's fine. That's fine. We'll find another one for him. We'll go there. He used to live next to it, so he's familiar. We'll find a beer for him. We'll be all right.
Hazy, crazy, IPA-zy. Yep. Good stuff. I'd recommend anybody try it if you ever get a chance to get some Invictus beer. Definitely give it a shot. It is pretty good, pretty tasty beer.
Then just informationally, obviously you can Google it, you can look them up, you can find their website. But 2025 105th Avenue in Blaine. So, as I mentioned, on 105th, right between 65 and Radisson Road. So, really easy to find. Although, super easy to find, but one tip, if you can, come in on Radisson Road, because if you come in from 65 and you're going east, you can't turn left. So, you have to go past it and loop around, which isn't that big a thing, but if we want to get into, like, the very small minutia of inconveniences... It's a pretty small inconvenience. It's really not that big a deal. But there isn't, just because there's so many roundabouts and other things, and it's a split road there through there, you got to go down to like the next road or whatever and turn around. So, but it's pretty easy to find, like 105th, and then just, go kind of between there and Radisson Road. Google it, put it on Google Maps, put it on Waze, put it on, what's the Apple version? I don't even know.
Apple Maps.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Apple's terrible. If you have an iPhone, I'm sorry. It's terrible. But when you go to Invictus on your Android, tell them the two guys in beer, Andy and Sean, say and see if they say anything. Maybe you'll get a free beer or something.
There you go. Yeah.
Somehow
yeah,
I don't think so, but we do have a couple of our cards posted there with our QR code. So while you're there, if you want, you could scan the QR code and listen to this fantastic podcast. Yeah,
and even whether it be Invictus or any of the other breweries that we've had on the podcast to this point, like we're pushing our way closer to 20 here pretty soon.
There.
Definitely mention if you go to a brewery, make sure you mention that you heard about it from the podcast, just to let them know that people are talking about it. We want to make sure that the business gets in a way their due, about it, but we like talking about it. We like researching it and discussing the various beers. And
I like drinking it.
Absolutely. That's the best part of the entire thing. So, yeah, like we said before, if you have any beers that you're looking to be able to have or anything like that, definitely reach out to us is probably the English way to be able to put that. Reach out to us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, X, YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, TikTok.
We're everywhere.
Yeah.
iHeartRadio, Pandora, Pod Addict. Wherever you want it, it's there.
Spotify. Yeah. It's all the things. So, yeah, but if you get a chance, definitely, give us some feedback, give us some thoughts, recommend a beer maybe in your hometown, because we got some people that have checked in from Texas. We got some people that have checked in from Washington. We've got, I think you said at one point we had some people that checked in from like England or something.
There's England, there's Australia, or pretty much everywhere. So
if there's something that you have there or whatever, definitely recommend something. If we can source it, that's the one challenge, I guess, to a certain extent. We can get some good Canadian beers from where we're at, but Australian beer might be a little tricky to be able to get a hold of. We'll definitely give it our shot. If you recommend something that, we'll absolutely try to be able to do what we can to be able to do that. So if you want to hear the kind of background of a certain place, just let us know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my story. That's my portion of the podcast here with Invictus Brewing. So I will continue drinking. Sean, what do you got? Some fun and fantastic info?
I do. I got a couple interesting stories I kind of came across this weekend. They're kind of interesting. I'll tell you the fact that I found. Actually, I found it a while ago, but we'll share it now. So if you were to drill a tunnel from one side of the Earth to the other, straight through the core, drill here, come out on the other side, wherever that is.
Which I don't think has been done. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think has been
yet.
done.
We should probably try. Actually, I think Russia has the longest bored tunnel, and then they heard noises and they filled it with cement. So,
well, that sounds right.
That's kind of how that happened. But if you were to dig a tunnel from one side of the Earth to all the way through to the other and jumped in it, guess how long it would take you to reach the other side?
Forever, because gravity will keep you in the middle.
I don't know. Okay, maybe Newton's law of gravity.
I feel like I've maybe heard this at one point in time.
Fall.
Let's say 2 hours.
42 minutes and 16 seconds.
Wow.
Free fall.
That's a.
I don't know how fast a free fall is. I probably should have looked that up.
Right.
Don't you hit like terminal velocity at some point in time? You can only fall so fast.
You can only get so much faster.
School was a long time ago, so I just don't remember all that. But I do remember something about a velocity. Everything will hit a certain speed, and that's as fast as it'll go. Mm-hmm. I'd assume through this tunnel, that would be about as fast as you go.
Sounds right. Yeah, So 42 minutes.
42 minutes.
That's a little bit quicker than, so we were talking about, previously about, going to the Oktoberfest. Like, it's going to take a little bit more than 42 minutes for me to get from MSP to Berlin. A little bit longer. I don't know about your flight if you got something else going on, but it's going to take me a few more minutes than 42.
Yeah, about 10 to 15 hours is what I've been seeing on there. I'm close to booking, but we just haven't quite booked yet. But.
Yeah, I almost booked it actually earlier today. We got couple of details we're just making sure are set or whatever, but otherwise, I think we're going to have that booked on our side. So the one I'm actually doing is actually going to have, ironically, it's going to give me a second little mini vacation because the layover is about a 9 to 10 hour layover in Dublin.
I was looking at one of those.
So I was like, well, why not?
Yeah, we haven't quite booked yet. I haven't decided if we're going to fly into Berlin or Munich because you can fly into either one of them. It's actually cheaper to fly into Berlin as opposed to Munich. But we'll see.
It's like $100 train ride or something like that. I think we're going to rent a car and drive down, but to be determined. Lots of details, logistics to get two guys in beer
Figure
to
it out.
Oktoberfest in Munich.
Yeah. Back to the stories here. Have you ever lost your wallet?
I have. It is an awful feeling. I'm not sure what's worse. You lose your phone or you lose your wallet. I know that, I understand that there's a significant difference on, how much stuff you...
Yeah.
Overall, it might be worse for you to lose your wallet, but, panic-wise, I think you're losing your phone. But, yes, I have lost my wallet.
Everything on your wallet you can access on your phone.
Right.
Electronically.
Yeah. But, yes, I have done that, and it's not a great thing. It's not fun. So
I can say I've never lost my wallet, but it seems like every 2 years I manage to wash it through the washer because apparently I feel the need to wash it with my jeans. And
launder money? You're laundering money? Is that what you're saying?
It's pretty good, yeah.
All right. If anybody's listening on the podcast, do not tell the feds. Don't alert anybody. It's fine. And you open the washer, and, of course, there's dollar bills all over, and your license and your credit cards and your wallet shrunk up, and this and that. Mm-hmm. Well, this lady's wallet really would have shrunk up. So this lady in British Columbia lost her wallet as she was getting off a dock and getting into a boat. She had her wallet in this backpack that she was carrying with her over, and it fell out. She had the zipper open. It fell out, fell in the ocean. Bloop, 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 bloop. Went down, and she didn't know she lost her wallet. We need to get that on the...
bloop, 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 bloop. No idea she had lost her wallet right away. But she come to realize she lost it, and then she realized the splashing she heard when she was getting in the boat was her wallet falling in the ocean.
Right.
Well, she paid a diver. Once they got back, she paid a diver to go down there and try to find it. You think it wouldn't be too hard to find when you're on a dock. It would just be lying right there. Yeah, 5-10 feet, I guess. I don't know how, however deep it is right there, whatever. But to no avail. They couldn't find her wallet. Mm-hmm. Fast forward, about a year and a half later, she's walking on along the beach with her dog, and what does she come across that washed up ashore?
A message in a bottle.
Dollar bills in her wallet.
Oh.
Her wallet had washed ashore a year and a half later on the same beach she was walking along.
How about that?
Opened it up. All her money was in there. Her license, her credit card, everything was in there.
Wow. That is... it's fun to hear stories like that.
Like,
Like the
crazy.
randomness of like how just stuff just works out.
Like, how does that even happen?
Right?
And she said everything was in relatively good condition except for the metal zipper, and the zipper was corroded a little bit from the salt water, but otherwise, what are the odds?
Yeah. Well, yeah, to be in the exact same spot or the same area,
Right.
But then like that's why
And
the diver
nobody
couldn't
found
find it because they washed it up
grabbed
there.
it. Yeah. Like, where would it even have gone? Did it actually like get carried out to sea, or was it just kind of there the whole time?
It probably got buried in a little bit of silt and moved around with the motion of the ocean or the tide or
You would think so.
whatever it be. Yeah, that's
Yeah, so she
kind of
recovered.
cool. She found it, but
Yeah, she recovered everything there. So that's the first story. That was kind of interesting.
I like that.
Just the odds.
Do you know that sign language has tongue twisters?
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what they are, but they are certain sequences.
I can't do much for signing. Thank you.
Yes,
Isn't
I
that
can.
thank you?
Yep. You got to
Yeah.
make sure you stay over the top, though.
Oh.
You don't get the chin because that's a very different sign language. That's more Italian there.
Well, no. Guinness Book of World Records. You've read that book.
Multiple times.
I've read
multiple
that book.
times.
They come out with one once a year, if I recall.
Yep. Yeah. Typically. There's a couple of people that are in there that like that's all they do. I don't know if they do that as a job, but they're in there all the time. They have like
Just trying to break any random
yeah,
record.
they're
to
just
get
trying
the
to. Because really, all it has to do. What did I read somewhere that it's you just have to have it something that somebody can recreate with reasonable means.
I wonder if we can get in
So it
there
doesn't
for,
matter
like,
what it
drinking
is.
beer on a podcast.
Maybe.
How many beers can you drink on a podcast?
Well,
I wonder if that would be a category.
I think I've had 2 on certain ones. Maybe 3 on that the one where we had the
Mobcraft.
the Advent calendar
Yeah.
one. I think we maybe got up to that. That was fun. That was
Those are pretty
from
good.
what I remember.
The last one I had was pretty good, that juicy one
Right.
that Amanda didn't like.
Yeah. Well, she's kind of judgy.
Aren't they all?
Don't tell her I said
Aren't
that.
they all?
Don't tell her I said that.
So Guinness Book of World Records. I don't know where they come up with these things. We just kind of just talked about how random people just try to get in there for stuff. But a Danish man earned an unusual Guinness World Records title when he managed to stuff 68 matchsticks into his nostrils. Like, who even comes up with this? You just grab some matchsticks and just shove them up in each. You have to like pull it open and shove them in there. 68.
Huh.
Peter von Tangen Buskoff, he was 39 years old, was awarded the title for most matches held in the nose when he surpassed Guinness World Records goal of 45 matchsticks.
I mean, that is a really random one, but I mean, how many times have you, because I know how you routinely thumb through the old Guinness book in your spare time. How many times have you come across something and you just look at it and you're like, well, I could do that.
I've done that before.
There's been a couple of times where I'm like, oh, I could do that. And then I try to do like part of something like that. And you're like, oh, I absolutely can't do that. It's almost immediately, like this was regretted. Yeah, you could still give it a shot. I wonder how many I could fit in my mouth. My mouth? Not my mouth. My nose.
You try it. Try it in the break here and find out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think my nostrils are especially large. I mean, I guess I've never really thought about it, but how many did he get again?
68.
68.
He shoved up in his nostrils.
Now, I wonder what the qualifications are for that. Like, are they like, because technically isn't like those, the matchbook, little flat cardboard ones.
Right.
Like, technically that's kind of a matchstick, isn't it?
So,
I mean, I think it would
yeah.
have to be like those square wooden ones, you know what I mean? Like the standard matchstick. But
that's what the photo of them showed, was the standard.
because those
square
flat cardboard ones, I
matchsticks.
could probably be fit, like 85 of them or something.
Try it.
I mean, they're pretty flat.
We should try it.
I might. Somebody light the end on fire on me.
That's actually the first thing I thought when I saw the picture. I'd be like, I'd like to just hold the lighter up.
Just, just light something towards it.
Yeah, Mr. Buskoff. Surprisingly, he said it didn't really hurt. He said he has fairly large nostrils and quite stretchy skin.
Stretchy skin. Okay. He must moisturize it.
He thinks that helped him a lot. He says he chose the matchstick challenge after researching different world records he could attempt. He said he didn't think he can currently beat his own record, but he hasn't ruled out trying again in the future. In quotes, this is what he says: "For me, an increase in capacity would require some training, or perhaps my nose will grow as I get older." How do you train for that?
So is it kind of like you've seen, like the kids that gauge their ears, you know what I mean?
What
Slowly
if you put
but
them in
surely.
your nostril
That's what I'm saying.
and,
Like
pumped it up or something.
Yeah, and blast it out. Pretty soon you look like Nat Geo nose, like that'd be really big nostrils. That's a lot of.
That's all I got for stupid news.
Did you know that Minnie Mouse? Her name is actually not Minnie. It's Minerva.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Minerva.
Just random facts. We're just throwing things out there at this point in time.
I'm gonna take another drink of beer.
There we go. I like it. It's good beer. It is a solid one. Invictus out of Blaine. I recommend it. The one we did today.
Invictus.
The Hazy Crazy IPAZ New England style IPA. So.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Go out and get yourself some Invictus if you have it available in your area, for sure.
Absolutely. I think that pretty much is the long and the short of our episode today here for Two Guys and a Beer.
Matchstick.
There we go. Yeah, and if you're looking to try the matchstick thing or whatever, let us know. Maybe we'll do it.
Send us some photos.
Yeah, we'll even have you on the podcast or something. Why not?
Podcast challenge.
Or if you have a world record. If you have a world record.
Oh, there you go.
Let's get you on there. Let's see if you can beat it. Beat your own world record. Or just talk about it. That's fun too. Especially if it's beer related. That'd be even better. So we'll try to maybe see if we can't get something figured out with that. So hope you enjoyed today's episode. Speaking of Invictus Brewing, we talked to you about the Hazy Crazy IPAZ, and hope you can get a chance to be able to check out all the rest of our episodes, like, share, subscribe, all of the things. Follow us on everything, and make sure you share it and tell all your friends and loved ones, and even your not loved ones. Tell everybody about it. Get it out there as much as we can, and definitely give us feedback. Recommend something if you want to be able to talk about something particular, or if you want us to try a certain beer, or just be able to do some research with the history of one. We're happy to be able to do it. That's part of why we're here. So, Sean, what else you got today?
No, that's about it. Thanks a lot, everybody. Appreciate everybody listening. God bless all of you out there, and cheers.
And we'll talk to you next time here on Two Guys and a Beer. Cheers.